Okay, I saw the dialog. Got it. Okay, let's get started. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, can see it.
Okay, so let's get started. So today we have three topics. The first one is from Pritesh. The second one is for us to confirm whether we can merge the PRs to fix the issue for Patrick James' account. And the last item will be discussing the way forward for the upcoming release candidate and also V1 releases. Okay, I think Shui may not join today since he has some family matters. So any issue we need Shui's comments, I can ping him offline.
Okay, so I'll get started with the first one. I think some time back we did discuss about supporting delete functionality in notation, and we also talked about that users can use Aura's delete functionality. Do we have any documentation around that, like deleting a signature using Aura's CLI, and what's the plan for supporting delete functionality in notation?
I don't think, I don't think currently we have the document, but we do have some, we do know some instructions that we can use our CLI to delete signatures, but we don't have any document yet.
Can we document that? Like when I was playing around with notation, like when I mistakenly pushed a wrong signature, there was no easy way to delete a signature, and apart from going through registry APIs or something like that. If it can be supported in notation, that would be great.
Yeah, I do see the need. Pritesh, could you create an issue? I also didn't remember we have an issue for it. I remember this first maybe sometimes ago, maybe Samuel, you mentioned this, right? I didn't remember clearly, but anyway, if we don't have a issue for it, maybe Pritesh can help to create it.
No, there is a roadmap issue. I think we created a roadmap issue. I think we required a next level deep dive on it. There's a roadmap issue for this.
Okay.
That's what I created. We required, I think, we talked about creating a CLI spec and figuring out the right user experience. Especially somebody who's familiar with how it's done in Aura's CLI might suggest a similar user experience here. So I was hoping somebody who's more familiar with Aura CLI. I think that's why Pritish was asking, how does it work in Aura CLI? Because if customers moves between different tools, if we can make the experience similar.
Hey guys, this is Toli. I was chatting about exactly the same issue with Jesse last week.
Okay.
He was asking the question. So there is a command on manifest, Aura's manifest, that we can use to delete artifacts or referrals, and that updates all the necessary manifest index and so on. The problem is it's not very easily discoverable, and as Pritesh mentioned, we should actually document that thing, at least for now, until we introduce some functionality in notation to remove signatures.
Yeah, so I think at a minimum in our documentation for notation, let's point back to wherever that ORAS thing is saying for deleting signatures, stay tuned, we are launching something, but here's what you can use today, and we point back to them to the ORAS documentation.
Okay. Yeah, we can document
I agree with that.
But I think so will this document be published in the notary website?
wherever our user guide is, I think wherever we say, hey, here's how you, wherever we specify, sign, verify, and maybe some helpful troubleshooting, like here's the way you can inspect a signature or list a signature. I think just below that, if we can add, if you ever need to delete a signature, follow these instructions.
Okay, yeah. So how about this? Maybe Pritesh, you can help to create an issue in the website repo so that we can assign resource to document the behavior, how to use ORs, CLI to delete the signatures. And maybe Samuel, since the issue you created in roadmap is about the notation delete functionality, maybe you can help to transfer those issues to the notation CLI repo, because we will deprecate the usage of roadmap repo.
That's
so that
fine.
later we can triage this issue to see how we can plan it post V1.
Yeah, I think we can at one point just migrate issues from roadmap repo to the individual repos. That's fair. Okay, so for right now, the action item is on Pritesh to just create a issue in the repo for documentation. But you or somebody who has more knowledge about how it works in ORS CLI can document those steps for us, right? So somebody like you or say somebody else who is more familiar with this, can they document it?
Yeah, we can provide instructions on how to do it. Maybe technical writer or other people can help do that.
Okay.
But yeah, but the instructions how to do it, we can provide it. I will add a comment once Pritesh created those issues.
I think he just created an issue. He just posted a link.
Okay, it's efficient. Okay. Yeah, I saw this issue.
Okay,
yeah.
Let's move on to the next topic then.
Yeah, the next topic is about the PRs for patch gen. Let me open it. We have 3 PRs, I think. Let me check the status. Let me
I actually checked the PRs today, so we have I think enough people approved from different organizations, so we can go and merge the PRs, and I can go and update the GitHub teams with the new handle for part 1. Let's just verify that we have enough approvals.
Okay. I think based on our governance, we have enough maintainers approve it. I mean, maintainers from 3 repositories. Do we need an org maintainer to approve it? I saw your message, Toddy, I think last week in the Slack channel asking whether we need other people to approve it.
Yeah, as far as I remember, we had. Can you tell me who approved it? Because some of those folks are also org maintainers. Like Vani, Samir, myself are all org maintainers. I think you also. So if we have those folks approved from, we can move ahead and just. And at the end of the day, it's not adding a new maintainer; it's just changing the username for the reasons that are explained there. So it's not like adding a new maintainer. So we need to have a super majority for that. So,
yeah, I think for notation, I just checked the PR for notation Go. It seems we needed to update to the latest branch. I will do that. Currently, it seems out of date. I remember I fixed it yesterday. Maybe today we have a new PRs merged in, so I will fix that. For notation, we have Toddy, Minion, Pritesh, Shui, Junjie, I think we have enough maintainers in this repo. Yeah, because Patrick Chen currently, so it displays here, but actually we are fixing the count for Patrick Chen, so it doesn't count. I mean, the reviewers from reviewers point of view. Let me check the notation go. This is notation go. Notation go, we have a similar approvals. Notation go. Yeah, the same thing goes to notation go. So I think we are good to merge this PR. Any comments from anyone?
Would you mind updating the issue just as a reminder for me to, because the PRs are linked to a single issue that Patrick started. So when I get to a computer, I have a reminder to go and update the GitHub themes.
Sure. Once these three PRs are merged, I will update that issue so that you will get notification.
Yep.
Okay. Any additional comments from anyone else? Samuel, Pradesh?
I don't have a comment. I was just working. Is this? How do other people do this? Because this is not a unique situation. Others may have run into this. Have you followed all the recommended governance process for it?
Yeah. Yes, we just update the information. No new maintainers will be added. And for each sub repository, we have enough maintainers approve it. And we also have Toddy as one of the governance maintainers from .github repo. So I think we are good. Okay. So the action for this will be merge those PRs, but I will fix the PR for the notation go first because the branch is out of date. I will do that after this meeting. Okay. Then we move next. Next is about the notation V1 release. Actually, we had a security follow-up meeting last week, right? So the proposal is the way towards notation V1 release is we first release another release candidate, RC6, for fixing security advisory issues. But I also suggest that we can including other issues. I will get back to this later. So first we will release a new RC6 to fixing security advisories. And the next step is that we have some documents required for security audit. So we also need to merge those documents for the purpose of security audit. Then after that, I think from security audit team, Adam's team, they can start to publish the security audit report officially. Then after that, we can release notation V1, and also we will have an officially released blog published on cncf site and also our notary website. And for notation V1, since in RC6, we including almost every issue. So for notation V1, we will only including the bug fixes reported on RC6. No other issues will be considered. So do you have any comments on this proposed steps? towards the notation V1 release?
No, I don't have a. Yeah, go ahead, Samir.
Sorry, jump in. The last part when you said no other bug fix, but you also said including only bug fixes. So you're saying all security issues and any critical bug fix, right? Goes in 1.0.0. It's not a feature release, but only critical bug fixes go in.
No. Yeah. Previously, we didn't have a plan on another RC, right? RC5 will be the final RC. But since we have the chance to release a new RC, and that RC is mainly targeting for the security advisories, but also I propose we include any other issues that we already have the PR for it. So that means that RC6 will basically have all the scopes we needed for notation V1. But after release RC6, before we release notation V1, there could be other issues reported, right? Because people will try RC6. So we will triage those issues to see if it is critical for V1. If yes, we include it into V1 release. If not, we don't have anything else needed for V1 release. We just cut the release and make an official announcement.
Okay.
So I have a question. Can we put some timelines for this? What is the target day for RC6 and what is the target day for 100?
Yeah. So then let's come back to the RC6. So I think we are clear on the security advisory, right? Those PRs, I think we have one PR to address 3 issues. And I think the team is working on that. I think later Pritesh can review it and we also have other issues I plan to edit. Let me open the notation notary planning board. You see, currently I'm at the V1 1.0 tab. You see, we have almost all the important issues have a PR ready for review. There are 3 from the second one to the second one, third, fourth are related to documentation. But for others, other issues that we aligned previously on V1 scope, and we have the PR ready for review. So basically, we have everything we want to include it in V1 at this moment. So that's what I suggest, that we also review those PRs and included it in RC6. So the time we did is the review effort maybe take 2 or 3 days. If we can do it quickly, maybe 1 or 2 days for it.
So do we think that we can maybe release by end of this week RC6, or are we looking for that Monday next week?
No, we targeting this week for it because all the PRs are ready for review.
Okay,
and I do, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I do think some PRs we already have maintenance approve it. So maybe Pradesh or Samuel can take a look. Yeah, before I go to one specific issue, Todi, your comments, I just interrupted you. Please continue.
Yeah, so if we do RC6 this week, what is our estimate for 100?
According to the proposed steps, the next after RC6, I think the next is to finish the security audit documents. I remember that the technical writer already wrote 2 documents. There are additional 2 required by security audit.
We have 3 documents that Zach wrote. I would ask everybody to actually go and comment on those. I went through these documents today and added my feedback, but I'll appreciate if everybody else kind of takes a look and provide some feedback. They need some improvements that, at least from my point of view, that needs to be added to the documents. But I think we can complete those documents in the next week, week and a half. So if we schedule, work with Adam to get a good schedule, we can target actually to publish, and we don't need to wait for the report to be published before we publish. I mean, we can simultaneously release 1.0 and the report. That's my point. So let's figure out the dates and put some target dates, and we can work towards the dates. Else, if we don't have target dates, it will be like we can move from day to day. So that's my ask.
Yeah, I think based on current status, RC6 we targeting this week, right? And we also have half of this week and a whole next week to complete the documents. I'm not sure whether it's reasonable for the 3 documents. Toddy, you mentioned we have 1.5 week to complete. Then after that, if we agree that the security audit report can be published, I mean, in parallel with the notation V1 release, I think basically, if we are okay with RC6 this week, then probably we can release V1 end of next week. I mean, it depends on the documents, and we also have several other documents under review. One is the security. One is threat modeling. I addressed most of the issues, comments, and another one is the signature specification. I also addressed some comments yesterday. So those 2 comments will be, I think, will be merged before the V1 release as well.
Yeah, actually, you remind me that there were the signature specification and the revocation specification. There were quite a few comments that we need to resolve there. So yeah. Let's. My proposal is to really target RC6 maybe this Friday, if that's okay, and work in parallel on the documentation and the spec comments. So I am not sure that end of next week will be something that we can make. So maybe what we should do is we should target 2 weeks from Friday for the final release, which will be, I think, June 10th, something like this.
Yeah, June 10th is Saturday, so maybe June 9th, Friday.
Yeah, June 9th or 8th.
Yeah, basically, yeah, the first week in June.
Does that sound good, Sabir, Pritesh?
Yeah, I think if we can get the work done, yeah, I think that from a date perspective, that's like we had talked about in the KubeCon, right? That the security audit is getting done and we are close to releasing a final version. So the closer we are to May, the better. So I agree with you, targeting June first week or by June 10th is the right approach.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Now, so however, I must say, like, if we realize that if we want to hold the date and we want to punt on a few features, if they're not getting done by that time, I hope we are okay to make that decision as well. Like, if there is something which is not getting done by June 10th, then it is not critical for the 1.0.0, we should be willing to move that out of 1.0.0 to try to hit the June 10th date.
Yeah, I think what he mentioned is that we are not adding features after RC6. So it will be only bug fixes.
Yeah, even for bug fixes, if you if we find a bug fix, which you think is a nice to have, but not critical, so we don't have to fix that in 1.0.0 is where I'm going.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, that's true. We need to triage those bugs together to see whether it's critical for V1. If not, we don't do any changes.
Okay.
So ideally, after RC6, the most work will be the documentation related work, also including the official release block for V1. As you know that the RC5 release block is not merged yet, so it takes some time. So I think after RC6 we do need to spend more time together working on the documents reviews.
Okay.
Okay.
Regarding RC5 release block, I see Toddy added some comments to that block PR this morning, my morning. I mean, I will address those comments today. So if Sami or Pritesh, if you wanna review it, and I think I can forward the link.
Yes, Steven, I think that link will be good. Otherwise, I will go through these links. I think it will be Thursday afternoon when I can schedule this time. To all these PRs which are in PR review, I can review them on Thursday afternoon. Or hopefully sooner, but Thursday afternoon is my time.
Okay, I just forwarded that RC5 release block PR to our chat box.
Okay.
You can review it after this meeting or make it available. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, I just check the PR status. So one PR, this one credential go requires credential to review and update notary v2 reference to notary project. This one credential already approved it, so we have two maintainers. I think this one we are ready to merge it. The first one is ready to merge. The next three are related to documentation. The next one requires credential to review. Let me check this one and this. Okay. The credential go also fixing some logging error messages, so it is the same PR for Pradesh. So that means that we only have two PRs for code repository. Okay, then the special one I want, yeah.
Sorry, I think we need to discuss 673 PR.
Yeah,
this
also one.
Patrick also pointed out in comments here.
Yeah, this is what I want to discuss. So this one we need more discussion. Let me reopen it. Yeah, this one basically that we have a notation search generate test command, right? And this command not only generates keys, certificate files, but also add the certificates into the trust store, and also it also added the entry, added the entries in the sign key config file. So there are multiple places updated by executing notation search generate test. So it's not easy for user to clean up everything from this command. We have a documentation that provide a guide for user how to clean up the files generated by a notation search generate test. So we are thinking that maybe it will be even better to provide another command named clean up test, so that user can easily clean up everything generated from notation search generate test. So that's the purpose. So Pritesh, please.
Yeah, I think I have a couple of questions here. The first one, how do we know what the cleanup command is actually deleting the certificates or keys generated by generate test command?
I think a cleanup test will have a name here, and the name is okay. You are asking that we don't know that the name is for the general test, right?
That's correct. Yeah, like there's no identifier, or I think we don't have control over what is test and what actually is not test. I mean, we do call it test, but user can just swap the certificate under beneath your key under beneath that certificate. So there is no good way to identify whether this is a test certificate or test key.
Yeah, any comments from other people?
I have a question. Is that something that we want to release as part of the 100, or is this?
We plan it
Can
for
we
RC6.
postpone it?
I mean, sorry, Toddy. I mean,
yeah.
if we cannot align on the solution, or we find some different opinions that we can not make a decision, we can exclude it for the RC6 and the V1 release. But before that, let's have a discussion to align it.
Yeah, I think they're valid kind of questions. I think that not only test certificates should be kind of cleaned up. Right now, cleaning up even other certificates, like, for example, I created a bunch in Azure Key Vault, and then I forgot about them, and I deleted the resources in Azure Key Vault, and now I have a bunch of configurations in my local notary machine, local machine for notation that is invalid. So I think cleanup command for everything is necessary. It's not only for the test one. So I think deciding on doing this for test only, it will be a little bit short-sighted, but that's my personal opinion. So, and I don't think it's like something that we really need to do, or it's critical for 100, right? As long as we go and say, if you want to clean up, go delete this, and this, that's a workaround we can work out with for 100.
I will second that. I will agree with Toddy that this is not a one-way door even, right? So even if we launch with this, the subsequent commands can help people clean up in the future as well. And also, Toddy, if I'm not mistaken, there was some good work done in RC3, I believe, where we said you don't even have to add the keys or the certificates to your certificate list or to your key list to sign, right? You can call the notation sign command, URI, and the plugin name, and then the key alias. So you don't even have to add the keys to sign. So back to your example, where you added a lot of certs. If you want, you don't even have to add a lot of certs to sign, right?
Yeah, that's also true. It's a little bit more elaborate, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
So, and I had commented on this that I don't think so we should put this behind experimental, because the whole idea about cert test generate was to reduce friction for people who want to try it for the very first time. So putting this behind experimental was not my proposal, but I can be convinced if you have good reason.
I actually, sorry, I agree with that. So I don't know why. I read your comment, and I was also wondering, why do we want to put that as experimental? That's like just test way, and there is nothing experimental in it.
And we are not going to remove it or deprecate it. It's something that works, and we want people to use it. Experimental is for things that we might remove or might deprecate. Experimental is not something to not tell people to use it production forever, right? For example,
yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. For example, we have done insecure registries. We are not calling insecure registries as experimental, right? It's there to help people to test with it locally quickly. This to me is one of those as well, to test with it locally closely, as long as we document it saying, this is a test certificate, don't use it this way. Okay, end of talking on this one. What is the next step, Sen?
Yeah, I think for the general test, we are aligned that we don't put it behind the experimental feature, and it's needed. So the point is that we think the cleanup test is not good enough to include it for the RC6, right? As Pritesh mentioned, that people may use this command to clean up other certificates, and Toddy mentioned that there's also a need that to delete other certificates. But I want to mention that notation cert, we do have a delete command, but this delete command will only delete the certificate from the trust store. That is the purpose for the notation cert command. It will not delete any other keys associated with this certificate. This is purely for the verification part. So in some cases, for people, they didn't even have any keys because that is the sign part. This notation cert command is only for the verification for the trust store only. It's just a very special scenario that the cert generator test will generate both the local keys and the certificate for the testing purpose. So normally, cert will not generate the sign keys. Any comments from Patrick, Junjie, Feeman?
I still think,
test?
Yeah, I still think cleanup test should be included in V1, or at least before V1, as it helps users to clean up those testing keys and certificate in just one command. Besides that, we have document to tell users how can they remove those test key and certs created by notation, generate test. But you will see that it is not very convenient for users to do that manually. I attached that link in our chat box. So that is the reason that we want to bring this search cleanup test into V1.
Yeah, I think, Feynman, we are not disagreeing with it. We are just saying if it doesn't get completed by the time for 1.0.0, the launch date of about June 10th, then we can revisit whether it has to be in 1.0.0. If we get agreement on it before then, yes.
I actually disagree with that. The reason being is if we don't do the design right, we need to introduce a breaking change after that. And it seems that we are not clear on what the design is. And it's not a critical feature to delay the release. So, because if we just introduce one switch that says cleanup test, that is like a hack that we will do. And after that, we need to support that for a while.
I'm just trying to answer some questions from Pritesh. So currently we don't support local key signing, right? So in the cleanup test command, we are going to check the key if it's an external key, meaning the key might be in a KMS. We will not clean up that key. We will only clean up non-external key in the signing key list, which can only be created by generate test, because we don't support local key signing, except if the user use notation cert generate test.
Yes, I know. in documentation, we do call out, but there's nothing stopping user to do it. I mean, it's a best, I would put it like it's a best effort and it's only done in documentation. If someone wants to use it in unsafe manner, they can still go and do it. It's just that we say that we don't want user to do it, we discourage it, but it's best effort.
And we still need to figure out like what is the story for the rest of the cleanup. Because as I said, so you may need to clean up other stuff, not only the local ones. So it's from scenario point of view, this I don't think it's the complete scenario.
Actually, this third cleanup test is quite simple. Quite simple scenario. It's just for improve the test cases and quick start cases. As you know, notation cert generate test and cert cleanup test are command pair. So when users type notation cert generate test to generate the test X509 key and test cert. So naturally, users might think about having a command like cert cleanup test to clean up those test keys created by notation. As you know, notation currently is notation have the notation key and cert, the separate commands that will be support the local key and in the future. So, but right now, I think this command cleanup test is just focused on the quick start or test cases. Without this command, users can still bring up those test key answers, but it requires a lot of manual steps, as we mentioned in the document. I think, Toddy, you may encounter this kind of problem before.
Yes, I did think out of this problem, but my problem, as I said, was bigger than this. So I wanted to clean up not only the test certificates, but also all the keys and certificates that were set up for Azure Key Vault. And the problem that I was having is kind of, for me, the scenario is a general cleanup scenario, not just cleaning the test keys. So I understand that the test keys cleaning and creation is a simple scenario, but I think we should have a general story. How do you clean up everything? Because right now, even if I do, let's say, cert delete the certificate, it's not a full cleanup because the actual certificate may stay on the file system and all these things. Anyway, so I'm just kind of raising my opinion. For me, it's not a critical feature for 1.0.0, and if that actually will compromise other features that we need to release, we should cut it as soon as possible so engineers don't spend time on that. That's kind of my project management hat. I would concentrate on the features that actually we need to release for 1.0.0, and those are the RC6 and the security issues that we need to fix. And this is kind of orthogonal feature that I have the feeling that we are spending time not only from engineering point of view, but also from meeting point of view that doesn't seem critical for me.
So besides this, we do have another issue. I think I posted the message in the Slack channel. It is related to security audit. So I saw Pritesh comments. I also pinned the Shiwei for comments. I do think we need to take some work on that part as well. But after we align what we need to check, as Pritesh mentioned, that we need to create a PR for that. That is the only one left. Yeah.
Are you talking about the cleanup test still? Sorry.
No, I mean besides cleanup test, we only have one PR left for that security audit issue.
Okay. Yeah, for the cleanup test, if we are actually going to pursue that for 100, can we at least have a description of how it's gonna work? So everybody is clear on the behavior and what we'll have there.
Yeah, I think if we are going to introduce this new command, definitely we will have a documentation and also the command description for it. But it seems that we don't have consensus on this command yet.
Can we open a PR to update the related spec? Let me check if this PR update the related CI spec. I think we may need to bring this question to offline discussion. Remove the key assert stored in KMS is another story, which is not including this cleanup test command. So I think the only thing we need to clarify is the scenario of this command. And how it is different with the notation key insert delete command.
Yes, let me check whether we have. Yeah, there's no spec related to this, so I think we also need to update the spec first. Okay. So we have 9 minutes left. I think we should continue to discuss about this cleanup test. But I do agree that this feature is not critical for V1 release because we already have a document so that user can follow up the documents to clean up the keys generated by the generate test command. But this command, the purpose for this command is to for user that they can conveniently delete everything generated by the generator test, because the guide is a bit complex for user to follow. So that is the purpose. So let's continue the discussion and finalize the spec first for it. Okay, do you think this, I mean, for the priority of this issue, do you agree that it is not critical for V1 release?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
It's not critical. It's my vote as well.
Okay, so
I just
think, yeah.
Sorry, folks. If it is not critical, then let's not spend time on that before the release. We have many other things to do than to actually discuss this feature. They are like looking at my notifications. I have about like 50 notifications that I need to go through, and I managed to go through only 5 today, right? We are all like under pressure to get the release and under timeline. So if we all agree it's not critical, let's table it and just not spend time on this discussion before the release. From project management point of view, it doesn't make sense, right? It will randomize like all of us, including engineers, that they can spend time actually on writing code and instead discussing the feature that will not include.
Yeah, Toddy, actually for V1 release, we have our mandatory scope, which is critical for V1. We also have other issues. If we have time, maybe those issues are nice to have. So that's the one reason from the scope point of view. We have some mandatory part. I think currently we basically have all the mandatory part ready. So for the other parts, if we can get it merged before V1, that's good. If not, we can move it to post V1. Yeah.
I think my point is a little different, right? Let's cut everything unessential for V1 and not spend time on it. So let's not even try to do any of those things and get the V1 release as soon as possible. That is my point. So just to have the essential features for V1, and every one of us concentrates on actually getting all these things out. That is what I'm asking for. But
Okay,
Samir, Pritesh,
yeah.
what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think I said enough on this one. That this is not critical for the, and if yeah, enough on that, I guess, from my side.
So let's clean up the board and remove all non-critical stuff and just concentrate on the critical one. So we have a bunch of PRs to review. We have a bunch of documentation to review and release between that before the release. We have the security audit. I think we have enough things to do than to work, let's say, on cleanup test or other. I cannot see it because I'm on my phone, but I cannot see what else we have as not P0.
The board actually, I did a clean up. I think we almost have everything here. Some are related, for example, the installation, homebrew installation that we needed to do it post V1. And some
I actually
are related
think
to documentation.
If I'm to prioritize, I will prioritize actually homebrew installation over the cleanup test.
That one needed
to
be done after V1, and I think we have some examples ready from our community.
Okay, but the thing is, like, I see quite a big list for V1 release, and I'm worried that actually we're trying to add even more things that it seems everybody agrees they are not essential. And my ask is if we can kind of really scope and make sure that we are clear on the scope, and if there is something that we all agree it's not essential, let's just table it and move it to after V1.
Yes, actually, this list, I think other expect this clean up test. I think everything else we needed. This one, Pradesh, last time you mentioned this one, there's no additional work, or we needed to do some work. This
we need to do some work. I went there and did some searches on the code path, and we need some work there.
Do we need this for V1?
I mean, it's good to have. Yeah, it's like not abiding by the spec or good practices. I mean, let's decide on the day if we want to pull it in or drop it. Like if I can make the change this week, then probably we can add it. Otherwise,
Yeah, I think if we want to add it, let's target in this week.
Yep.
So this week, RC6, we will include everything. Expect some documentation issues listed in this table. For everything we needed to targeting for RC6. So for the cleanup, if it is not critical, we still have some work on the specification, and to reach a consensus, we can move it out of V1 scope. But for other things listed here, except documentation, I think it's necessary for V1. Yeah, Pritesh, this one, please come back to us whether we can complete it by this week. Yeah, we only have 1 or 2 days for the
it shouldn't take more than a day or two. Yeah, we'll do that.
And please review this credential helper, this PR. This PR is critical for everyone. Okay, this Docker credential helper. Okay, back to this agenda, we have we discussed this one cleanup test. We have a Zoom guide listed by Freeman. This PR for HashiCorp. Freeman, do you mean that we have...
It's just a review request as we set up the HashiCorp Vault plugin repo, and we had the first PR to add the initial implementation for HashiCorp Vault plugin. So we need more maintainers, especially org maintainers, to approve this PR. So Samir, Pritesh, could you approve and could you review and approve this PR as we are adding initial code owners and maintainers as we discussing that issue?
Yeah, so we need Pritesh, Samuel, and also org maintainers, right, to approve this PR. Maybe Freeman, you can resend the issues for what we aligned for this PR to Samuel and Pritesh so that they can take a decision based on it.
Yeah, okay. I can reshare that link in your Slack chat. Okay.
I think the most important thing is that we get RC6 released this week. And after 2 weeks, we release notation v1. Okay, let's.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, let's fight for it.
Thanks,
okay,
folks.
We are 1 minute. Yeah, overtime 1 minute. So thank you. Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, folks. Bye.